had issues with what was going on, and then would have been dead too. But she wasn't alone, even when she couldn't see. Eventually, especially when she couldn't see. Because there were voices, helpful voices. Voices that would help the pain stop, help the fear stop, help the darkness stop. Because something had happened that enabled her to feel an extraordinary amount of pain. Pain without purpose, pain without explanation, just living a living halo of agony. That eventually, that how long it lasted, she couldn't put a timeline on it. But there came a moment when she perceived that there was a voice, in effect, calling out to her to help her, to make the pain stop, if she wanted it to. And my assumption is at some point she wanted it to stop. And so it became a sort of a quid pro quo of motion, of relationship, of getting to know the voice and the voices. Because there is a voice. It's composed of many voices. Can you imagine the angelic unity of a city of beings united as one in a single purpose?
Okay.
This has nothing to do with that. There is a voice, and there are many other voices that are subjugated to that voice. Many voices together that are the one voice that have been subjugated by the one that is the voice. So more like a city that has fallen and its entire population almost gone mad, and one personality overwhelming all the others in time and bringing them all to heel. Perhaps overwhelming one or two at the beginning, but each adding their will to its own so that each time it could continue to build and consume and compel until it was one voice that was Legion.
Oh.
So Tiffany's working with some nice beings.
Ah, yeah.
Nice being. A nice being. The nice being will be working with her to enable her, to help her to be all that she can be. And it tells her that she has the talent, the gift for wielding virtue, and the voice can help her learn to wield it well. But there is, of course, a quid pro quo. There's someones that we need to keep an eye on, need to be able to examine, to learn what they are up to, learn about them. And they're at a city called Wand. As a mage or a hospitaller, take the oath to the High King and be training up that way, but under the tutelage and observation and patronage of other mages or hospitallers, depending on what your focus of interest is. If you do that, then you're on the hospitaller or the mage path. Cool. But you're also under observation.
Yeah.
If you don't do that, you're on your own, per se. You are pursuing your own studies. You can make your own friends, but you don't have a mantle. That doesn't mean you can't do magistry. It just means they don't know you can do magistry. Because the world is not composed simply of mages and hospitallers and pallant knights. There are other uses of virtue. These are just the three the realm has standardized. There is such thing as terrestrial mages, for instance. Terrestrial mages are like hospitalars in that they do not use mages have mantles that allow them to scribe scripts that are then passed on to the local anchor stone, interpreted and activated. Hospitalars lay hands on a person, hear the flow of virtue within their body, and manipulate it to heal and help. A terrestrial mage is someone who manipulates virtue, but can do it much more at a distance. It is much more of a primal use of power, because what it is, you're literally channeling power and doing things with it. The limitation is in large part the imagination of the wielder, but also the power involved in using it. A terrestrial mage is not so much wielding their own power, they're wielding the virtue that's available in the environment around them. There are rivers of virtue that flow through the world. Rivers flowing north-south, with rivers flowing east-west. And a terrestrial mage's powers are proportional to how close she is to a river, because she's drawing from the river and then affecting a result. This is what your friend the voice would have been teaching. That doesn't mean you couldn't refine it at the university, but it is not something that the university, as the voice makes very clear, should know that you're capable of doing. In some respects, a terrestrial mage can resemble a hospitalar, because hospitalars can do a lot of things, or palate knights can do a lot of things that are like that. It can be very effective and lethal. If you are not talented and therefore not pursuing magistry or the healing arts, you are much more under the radar. You can it's much easier for you to come and go as you wish. If a talented individual disappears, goes off and does something, pretty much the realm gets turned upside down and shaken until they fall out. They want to know, because the talented are so valuable, you can't afford to lose them. Whereas a regular student has freedom. And by the way, there's a library. Or more accurately, there is the library. The largest accumulation of written knowledge of mankind on the planet in Wand. And a good portion of it has to do with magistry.
Useful.
So it is possible to, get a lot of instruction. It is, without a mantle, magistry is out of the question. Without training in biology, anatomy, and careful work with animals, learning how to do things right, the healing arts are also out of the question. The herding arts are really easy. Working with the human body is far more complex than listening to and live parsing out a symphony orchestra playing and being able to discern what instrument is wrong and then correcting it. But herding's easy, because you just reach in and grab the living song and change it. But that doesn't mean your character is villainously inclined any more than any other sinner.
Yeah.
But she's definitely been, trained.
Do I happen to know if the voice is talking to anyone else?
Well, the voice doesn't stay with you. The reason it's sending you to Wand is because it has other things it needs to be doing, and it can't be everywhere at once. but it certainly would have worked with you until it was confident in your skills and in your trustworthiness.
So wait, what is it exactly that? What sort of information and whatnot?
It is hungry for all information.
Well, that narrows it down.
Yeah. Imagine.
Does Becca have a shadow?
No, she doesn't have a shadow.
Well, I'm so glad I
She's
know
on
what
her
these
own.
terms are.
She's on her own.
Rip to you. Rip to you.
I'm glad you're concerned for me because I'm not
Good luck with that.
solely out of ignorance.
Your impression is that that it's secret, and I can't tell you anymore.
You can't? Did I not either?
Because I can hear,
Shadows are gone.
except for the little pet stuff.
You're a student. You need to decide what you're interested in studying. You can figure out what college you've gotten into.
Okay.
You're financed.
Don't know what I'm studying.